Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Soul Goddess Frequency event. Today, we have a really special guest, Amara Charles, who is an internationally respected intimacy mentor, author, and teacher devoted to awakening the sovereign feminine and igniting the sacred power of love. For more than 3 decades, she has guided thousands through transformational retreats and teachings that weave spiritual sexuality, embodiment, and ancient wisdom with modern awareness. Known for her luminous presence and compassionate clarity, Amara invites women and couples to reclaim the full spectrum of their feminine radiance, from sensual aliveness to soul-centered strength. Her best-selling book, The Sexual Practices of Kwodoshka, has inspired readers worldwide to embrace passion as a path to consciousness and heart-centered connection. And through her work, including Mystic Rapture, The Path of Wise Love, she guides participants to embody wholeness, freedom, and deeply bonded love. And today we are talking about something really special, the wild and tender Dakini, meeting life when everything is changing. So Amara, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Wow, that was quite an introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you've done so much. So great to have you. So let's just dive straight in, because this title is very intriguing and I don't think I've ever heard it about Dakini before. So what does it even mean?
Well, that's a great place to start. The Dakini, when I talk about a Dakini, I don't mean some abstract, mystical being out there, although she is that too. I'm pointing to that wild and tender part of intrinsic erotic wisdom inside of ourselves that is both wild, free, uninhibited, and tender, fragile, and wise.
And in your story, you mentioned the moment of fear at the bungee platform. And I thought it's something that's like, what is that? So tell us about that and what it really showed you about yourself, because I know fear is something that truly does stop people from stepping into their true expression.
Yeah, well, the bungee story is pretty amazing. I was with a group of peers and we were in Hawaii and we were on this glorious environment, this cliff. And somebody suggested we go just do this bungee jump and jump off the edge of a cliff, right? And they were just all ecstatic and they were wild and my body just said, absolutely not. No, I'm not doing this. My stomach tightened into a knot, and I just had this absolute no. And then my mind kicked in and said, don't be the boring one. Don't be you. You got to do it. You've got to go along with everyone. Be wild. Be free. And then what I realized that the fear wasn't actually about the jump itself. It was the fear of being seen as afraid and being left out of it. That's the cage that most of us live in. It's that cage of duality where there's one thing going on inside and we're being pushed into doing something else on the outside. And we think we have to be one thing or the other. And so there's this split inside. That's what I mean. We're in this split of duality and we try to perform, we try to act whole and act and do the right thing and so on. But inside there is this deep split. And that's what I came to realize, is that the wild and tender Dakini part, she doesn't live in that split. She realizes that duality is really the quest to find wholeness and being at one and making choices and decisions from that place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, amazing. So how do we get in touch with this part of us? Does it live in all of us? And why is it not accessible sometimes?
Well, the it is always there. And that's a great way to begin, because it's not about finding or conquering or getting rid of this fear. Over the years, I realized that the erotic wisdom, the spiritual sexual aliveness. And when I talk about erotic wisdom, I don't just mean, having sex. I mean that whole alive intelligence inside of us actually has information and messages for us. And so it's about remembering that it is already inside of us. And I began to see over the years that there's really three key doorways, three keys that unlock that cage of being split up and confused inside and bring us back to wholeness. Because when we are in our body, when we are embodied and present and whole, we can access the truth. We can access making good decisions. So the first key is using our fear as a fuel. And so instead of just being consumed or overwhelmed by it, we use it as a fuel, like standing on that cliff. That cliff wasn't telling me to shrink inside and become small and walk away from the edge. It was telling me to pay attention. And we do pay with our attention. Do we pay attention to the fear, to the worry, to the doubt, to the uncertainty? Or do we move to our edges, move towards what scares us, right? Life and fear are neighbors. It's an edge. Fear and erotic aliveness are cousins, right? They live right next to each other. So when we feel that fear, it's actually, we can learn to feel it and sense it as a message. Ooh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling that aliveness. And so if we name it as fear and we habitually back away, right? And then it becomes a pattern of avoidance, right? And so what the Dakini learns to do is to notice that edge of fear and name it as intensity, as expansion. Oh, there's an edge. All right. And that in that moment, in that gap, I have a choice. And notice in my story on that day, my breakthrough was I said no. So it's not always about, yes, I've got to jump off the cliff right now. Sometimes the voice of fear is actually wisdom. It's an intrinsic voice that says, this is not the time. Wait. That's a very different voice. That's a habitual no, that says, no, I don't, no, I'm going to not say yes. No, I want to avoid this. There's a deeper voice that we're listening for. So the feminine voice, the feminine power, the Dakini edge, it's not about conquering fear or getting rid of fear. And those are the second two keys. It's about feeding and nourishing instead of fighting. And then realizing the impermanence of every moment. And those are the three keys, which I can go more into if we like.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you say fear is kind of like on the edge of aliveness, and it's not, because it's reminding me of like the vibrational scale, and fear is like all the way at the bottom. So when people feel fear, they tend to think that they're really far away from alignment or their truth. So I really like that it's what you've explained is like a bridge to actually, we don't have to go through all the steps. We can actually just pivot into feeling alive and then listening to our truth. So yeah, I would love to hear about the three keys more.
Oh, beautiful. So yeah, I love that. I love the frequency, the range of frequency. And when you see that ladder or that breaking down of those stages, you're absolutely correct. We can flip from fear or anxiety or trepidation, hesitation, confusion, etc. in an instant, immediately. And so the second key that is really powerful, and it hinges on staying in our body, because if we leave, we can't listen. If we jump out of the body and we just run along, and I've definitely had my moments where I'm out of here. That's my escape hatch. And sometimes that's okay too. See, what I love about the Dakini that is wild and tender, right, is that it's not about, we don't have to make ourselves wrong for leaving, wrong for saying no, okay? It's about an inquiry. So the second key is about feeding the fear, facing and feeding the fear instead of fighting it. And in the ancient Dakini realms, there was a place called the land of the Dakini, okay? And it was a physical place. And it is called Udiana. And so there was a place where women were great teachers, were mystics, were teaching the Buddhas even. And so the Dakini wisdom is something that I believe and I experience is alive in us. So one of the practices of the Dakinis was to actually transform her own body into a nectar that fed the demon of fear, for example. And so the turning our body and turning ourselves and nourishing ourselves into the nourishment in food requires asking a simple question. What does that fear want? What does that fear really want? Okay. It might need us to run away. It might need us to guard ourselves, to protect ourselves. But what does it want underneath that? Okay. And usually the demon of fear wants protection and wants to feel safe. So it's safety underneath. So what if I fed this part of myself safety? And so what if I chose to find a way to be safe? In that case, in that story, my safety was, today's not my day to jump. I did it at another time when I was ready, right? And so that is the second key. The third key is about embracing impermanence. The biggest split that we have, the biggest way that we exhaust ourselves is actually not by doing too much. We think, oh, I'm busy, busy, busy. I'm doing, and that's why I'm exhausted. The real exhaustion comes from this internal split. And it's trying to hold on to something that is going to change and going to disappear. That's where we get exhausted. I don't want things to go away. I don't want things to change. Or I want things to go away and I want them to change. And so we're, instead of flowing with the impermanence, realizing that one moment embraces the next and the next. And this is where I call the Dakini is alive with the numinous. And numinous is a word that means it's beyond luminous. It means the pure mystery of what's next. That's what impermanence means. It's like we really don't know what is next, what is next. And so when we walk with this aliveness, the journey of the Dakini is wild and tender and sweet. And it's actually walking home. It's remembering wholeness and aliveness. We can't seek it in someone else. We gotta look inward. Instead of looking outward, we look inward to remember who we truly are.
Amazing. So can I give you an example and we can put the three keys to a modern day example?
Great. That sounds wonderful. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's just say that someone is in a relationship and maybe it's been a long-term relationship and they know deep down that it's not really for them, but nothing intense has happened. So there's no clear path out. It's just a dissatisfaction and an inner knowing, and it's easy to also carry on.
That's a beautiful example because sometimes the fear isn't like this big bag boogeyman or boogie woman. And so it's like, it's this subtle fear of, is this it? And is this all there is? Am I going to settle here? And so the first step is to tune in, and it might not name itself as fear. It might name itself as numbness, or I don't know, or there's nothing. And there's no voice, and I have no message, and I feel lost, and I don't know what to do. So what if that is the fear? How do we use that as a fuel? My experience shows me to first feel it, even if it's empty, even if it's numb, even if it's elusive. Sit still enough, stay enough to feel it, okay? And so then ask the second key. Then ask, okay, well, what is this I don't know-ness bringing up in me? Feel that. It will bring up some fear. It's like fear of, the ultimate fear is the fear of dying, fear of being alone at death, fear of losing everything. Okay? That's the core fear. And so face that core fear and ask it, okay, well, what do you really need right now? What do you really need? I just need you. Maybe it'll answer. Maybe it'll give you a message. I just need to be here right now. I just need to feel this. Or it could even be the message of like, well, I'm not sure. And that's okay. You know, uncertainty is okay. Uncertainty and not knowing is don't make that wrong either. It's that's what's happening there. That's the fear of being not sure of what to do. We don't have to fix it. We need to feel it. So go into and allow and stay with the uncertainty, okay? And then the third key will arise. If you stay with it and you allow yourself to feel it, it will shift. It's kind of like there's a child having a tantrum and they're going nuts and they're crying. They don't know why they're crying. They're just upset. They're just crying. And if you leave them alone and let them just cry, at some point, this is what children teach us, they will just stop crying because nobody's paying attention to that. And then they will maybe play with a toy. And so in that space, if you allow it to stay with it, sometimes the bravery is just staying in uncertainty of not knowing. So in that example, we're trying to push ourselves to have answers, to know what to do, to make the right choice. It's like what I'm saying is allow the uncertainty, breathe into it, feel it, and then it will shift. And all you need is one step, the next step of what you're ready for. That's it.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And when we do this process, so say we take the example of leaving a relationship, do you then have to like take active steps to end it? Or can you do this process and allow life to orchestrate it for you? Or is it an in-between?
I'm not sure that I understand. You're saying that, are you asking, are there steps we need to take? Or should we wait for life to show us what to do?
Yeah, so in the sense, some people say that doing this process, allowing the emotions to come up, allowing to sit with it and being with it and facing your fear is enough for life to rearrange itself and for the relationship just to end by itself. Or other people say doing this process is just to get clear within yourself, but you still have to take the steps in the physical world to then say, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. And, we have to force ourselves or push ourselves to do the thing that we don't want to do.
Well, in my experience, we know when it's over. And there's often, let's face it, we're human. we're not going to step immediately often and say, it's over, I'm leaving, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. There is often, there's a lot of attachments and entanglements and so forth. There maybe are children, and there's the finances and things we need to tend to. So I am not saying to not tend to those things. Yes, tend to those things, but don't dwell on them and stay there for 5 years pretending that, I'm actually moving towards this and I'm taking care of this. It's like, the real thing is when you make a choice, you must move on it. Do not dilly-dally and linger in indecisiveness. We can have a moment or a period or a phase of it's okay to be uncertain because I'm filtering out and I am making a choice. But when we know, we know. And when we have that feeling of I'm done, because I've had it several times, there is my experience of there's this urgency. We must take an action now and follow that voice. When your body, it comes back to embodiment. When you have a knowing in your body of I'm done, you listen to that voice, because if you don't pay attention to that voice, you will pay for that. Mm-hmm. So many women, many people stay and stay and stay too long. And so you must listen to that voice. How do you decide? When you are really losing life force energy, you're losing yourself, you're losing vitality, okay? You must discern the wild and feminine Dakini, okay? The tender part is like, okay, be tender with yourself. Don't judge yourself, don't fight yourself, don't push yourself. Listen to yourself. And when you get the answers, that's when the fierceness, the determination to stand up, to speak up, and to express. Don't let anybody else tell you when. Find the power and that voice inside of you. We are made of a body, of energy, a voice, and a mind. When the mind and the body and the voice come together, take action, absolutely. Take decisive action. Yeah. And move into a new place. Yes.
Yeah, I love that answer, because we're not trying to force that voice to come out and trying to force ourselves. We're waiting for that inner knowing and for the true choice to be made and then acting on it. So that sounds really great and a doable thing for everyone to do. So we're going to be experiencing the Dakini Whisper, which is a 10-minute exercise with you. So can I hand it over to you and we can experience that?
Sure, I'd love to. Okay. I'd like to begin with a dedication, to dedicate this exercise, this mini little Dakini Whisper ceremony, to ourselves and our loved ones, and for all beings who are in need of feeling that wild and tender aliveness inside. So let's begin by arriving, feeling the weight of your body if you're sitting on a chair, or your feet on the ground. And if you are sitting on a chair, I suggest you put your feet on the ground with the earth, the grandmother earth energy. Okay, and sense how the ground is holding you, or the chair that you're sitting on is already holding you, is already supporting yourself. You don't have to hold yourself up now. You're being held, supported by the earth. So let yourself rest into it. Allow yourself to be held. Now, take a moment and notice what is here. Gently ask yourself, what right now in my life feels a little uncertain or tender today? Don't think too hard. Just notice, where is there a space of uncertainty? You don't know what to do, or there's a sense of unease with someone in a situation. And whatever floats to the surface is absolutely perfect. No story, no fixing. Just maybe this situation with my daughter or this thing at work. Just let it float up. This little space of indecision, maybe it's about something upcoming. And notice, where do you feel that in your body? Just tune in for a moment and locate. See if you can tune in and find that spot. Maybe it's in the chest or the gut or the jaw, the head, the heart. And just go ahead and just place your hand wherever that is. We're not fixing anything here. Right now, we're just saying hello and we're locating it. Just locate that sensation of uncertainty or unease. And let's just be with it. Let's just stay with it. Breathe into it. So taking your hand, having it there, just breathe into it, breathing in. Let a gentle space open, allowing, and then exhale, letting the breath go. Breathing into that space of unease, hooking into it, and then gently releasing it and letting it ride out on the out breath. Once again, gently breathing into that space, being a little tender with it, and then gently hooking into that and letting it ride out and release it on the out breath. So with each inhale, we connect to it, allow it, let it be. It's not our enemy. And then just gently releasing it and letting it go with the breath itself. Now we're going to do the Dakini part, the little Dakini whispering section. And so now see if you can imagine, see what it feels like to imagine a feminine presence, a Dakini, a goddess. And notice if this appears, the sensation, maybe even visual, appears in front of you or beside you. Invite in this ally, invite in a presence of the feminine feeling. And it could just be a pure feeling. Maybe it's inside you. Maybe it's very light and it's imagining the room brightening up.
I'm 61 and today I'm switching from walking to Tai Chi. I hope it helps my joints.
And notice the feeling of this. Welcoming in this Dakini, this space of non-duality. There's no split, there's no judgment. It's just simply a curiosity, a welcoming of this feminine presence. And now see what it feels like to allow this energy, this presence, or this light, or this image to imagine she places her hand on top of your hand. And she just offers a tender gesture. Just feel, allow yourself, see what it feels like to feel a tender connection, a warmth, the feeling of warmth in your body. The feminine energy is that warmth of the womb. And feeling her say without words, this too belongs. All of this, even the uncertainty. And just take a few breaths together and allow this feeling of warmth, this feeling of allowance, acceptance, connection. Just breathing with it just for a moment of your day. And now allowing this to move. Sometimes there's a feeling of tenderness in the heart. The energy starts to move. And perhaps this ally, this feminine witness, this feminine energy has a message for you. And it might come in the form of a shiver or a sigh or maybe even a tear or a smile. Let it move. Let this feminine energy, this tender, wild, free feeling, let the body welcome this frequency. And if nothing moves, that's okay too. Just taking a pause in this moment. And then ask and be quiet for a moment. And ask, invite this Dakini and ask her, what are you trying to show me right now? Don't search for words, just wait, relax, stay. A phrase, an image, a feeling might arise. Just trust the first thing that comes as your own wisdom, your own inner Dakini speaking. Now bringing both hands to your heart, integrating. In the moment of uncertainty, I can stay open with change. Let the Dakini whisper to you. I can be friends with change. And then simply allowing a beautiful, nice breath in. Again, connecting with your feet on the ground. If your eyes have been closed, you can wiggle your spine a little, open your eyes, place your hands on your thighs. Notice the color and the light and bring this feminine energy, opening your eyes, even as you open your eyes gently. The feminine energy, the feminine frequency of tenderness, wholeness, aliveness. Bring this with you. This stays. And letting the ordinary come back into focus. Let's close with a dedication. And may any energy or insights of awareness that we have gained here, may all humans have the opportunity to experience their wholeness and their aliveness.
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Goldman Sachs says that Elon Musk's new AI breakthrough could trigger an unprecedented market.
Thank you so much, Amara. That was so special. And I also want to talk about your free gift, which is a relationship clarity call. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. And you can find all the information on my website, of course. And so I love to offer any woman who has listened to our conversation, if you have been touched or if this has resonated with you, the heart of everything I do is really about embodiment, about coming back into connection and aliveness and clarity. And that's why I call it a clarity call. And so I offer an opportunity, a chance for us to chat, have a connection and really, step out of the confusion of limbo and split and all of that and into a place of clarity. And so what we do is we talk for about an hour together and we go into, hey, what's working? And its focus is on relationships. So what's going on in your intimate world or your relationship world? What's working? What's not working? And where do you want to go? that's how we move into spaces of clarity where, your next steps forward. And then we can see if we are perhaps a fit to work together. And if it feels right, then we have other things and other options that we do. I have workshops and retreats and stuff, and you can find all of that on my website.
Beautiful. All the links to that call and amaracharles.com, which is your website, is all down below. And I'm guessing that your book is also available on Amazon, and
Yes.
it's called The Sexual Practices of Kodoshka.
Excellent.
Yeah, I know.
Radoshka.
Yeah, and that is on Amazon. So, yeah, Amara, thank you so much for being with us here today and just allowing us to get in touch with our Dakini.
Wonderful. I really had a good time, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the future. Take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.